Oh, hey, buddy. Hi, you wanna say hi?
Hey y'all, so I think the last garden update that I had for y'all was like 2-ish months ago, and we had some of our quote-unquote winter plants thriving, and my summer plants, being the squash and the cucumbers, were like just about to start producing fruit. And so a lot of time has flown by, and to say that the garden is growing would be a bit of an understatement at this point. So let's start from a couple months ago. So starting in May, my personal life started to get incredibly busy. I am in my 30s and everyone I know is in love, which means everyone I know is getting married this year. So between the middle of May to now, which is the end of June, I've attended 3 weddings, and I did 2 weeks in Europe, and within those 5 weeks, I have only been home for 5 days. So my garden was left in the hands of nature and in the hands of some lovely friends who watered them for me. And without my watchful eye, the garden just did whatever it wanted to do. So let's kind of start off with the kind of weather that Texas has been having. So as I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, I'm in Central Texas, and Texas is known for having very chaotic weather. I feel like a lot of states are like, yeah, our weather's crazy. Like everyone kind of says that, but like Texas is like a whole other ballpark in terms of like insane weather that we have. So throughout April and May, we had like heavy weeks of rainstorms, thunderstorms, followed by like incredibly hot days. And I'm talking like the combination is like living in Satan's armpit, because it's just like so freaking hot and so disgustingly moist. So most of April, May, and June was like that. When I was out of town for 3 of those weeks, I had friends who were willing to water my plants for me. However, nature got that covered, so much so that it probably overwatered a little bit of them. And to say that things grew, again, would be an understatement, because it exploded, and perhaps I was not prepared to have so many vine plants so close together, plus the amount of rain and the amount of heat. It just went everywhere. And I'm gonna put video over to kind of show the density of the plants. And so even when I left for Europe, like at the end of May, the beginning of June, it was already getting kind of dense. And so we were having cucumbers come in immediately, like we're already having some that we could pick, but it was dense to the point where like I would have to like sift and noodle around in all the vines to find one. So much so that like there would be cucumbers in there. You just don't really see them until you see this giant large cucumber. You're like, oh, there it is. It's poor planning on my part. So because that they're in boxes and they didn't really have anything to like entangle, they just spewed kind of out of the box and grew on the outside, started creeping into the lawn a little bit, and it's like spilled over. Like my husband is having to mow like around the pile of vines that now exist. One of the other issues with like the excessive amount of rain is that if there's no time in between for pollination, sometimes the plant will produce like a tiny little pickle, and then it'll just shrivel up and dry and not turn into a full cucumber. Similar with the butternut squash, the same thing will happen. It'll just get like little teeny tiny, and then it just like shrivels up and dies off the vine. So with the excessive rain, a lot of that was happening where it's just there wasn't enough time for like pollinators to come through. Therefore, a lot of these plants were just not becoming full fruits. So that was issue number 1. Issue number 2, I did have some people come by just to check on the garden, and I told them, I was like, feel free to take any cucumbers that you see, like, have at it, it's producing a lot. What I should have done is I should have been a little bit more insistent on picking the cucumbers that were ripe. I guess I thought people would be like, hell yeah, cucumbers, and take them, but I should have told them, please, if you see a cucumber that's ripe, please pick it. Because when I came back, and this is not their fault, for the record, this is not their fault, this is my fault for not thinking about this. When I came back from Europe in between weddings 2 and 3, I went out to the garden and I was like, what is that? Cucumbers. If left on the vine for too long and continuously grow, will become quite large and will turn yellow.
Oh my god, what is that?
And it looked a little bit like a mango, and there was like big ones, like big bloated yellow cucumbers. It was really gross looking. I probably picked maybe 6 or 7 of those when I came home, and I was like, oh no, this is not good. So it kind of sucked because I knew that the cucumber plant was putting all of its love and effort and water and growing power into these bloated, overripe cucumbers, and I felt so silly because I should have known or thought about it, but I was so busy, you know, European vacation, celebrating love, that I didn't think about that. So I thought I was gonna come home to a bunch of beautiful cucumbers that I could pickle, and I was gonna have like the best time making pickles for all my friends, and instead I kind of came home to like the world's ugliest, grossest cucumbers. And that is a hard lesson to learn. I since picked those because I didn't want any more of that plant's effort to go into growing these gross cucumbers anymore. So I picked those off. I got a couple of nice, matured, not overripe cucumbers and was able to start doing some pickling. I would like to do a video, separate video, of how to make quick pickles, because I like making quick pickles. They're really fun to like give to friends, give to family, / a little salty snack. Before I left for vacations and weddings, our butternut squash was doing really well. So they were definitely producing. They were turning like a beigey brown, which is where they're supposed to be at whenever you pick them. But they're able to stay on the vine for a lot longer than cucumbers, so they completely survived the heat and overwatering and lack of picking that happened while I was gone. One of the tricky things for me is I have never grown butternut squash before, so I wasn't really sure what I was looking for when it was time to pick. Like, I knew what a squash looked like. I think the biggest issue for me is that I was worried about picking it too soon. A year ago, when I did watermelon, I had picked a watermelon that I thought was ripe, and then I cut it open and it was like completely white inside, and it was such a large fruit that I felt so bad that I had like wasted it by picking it too soon. So I think that was one of my biggest fears when getting a butternut squash off the vine. Several different sources gave some information on when to pick it. Basically the color, the depth in which, like, if you try to cut it with your nail, and then the tip of the vine. So I can show maybe a picture on here. So basically the top part, the stem part, was brownish, and I kept waiting for it to get turned like more and more brown, but I decided to pick it anyways, and I made some butternut squash soup with it. Totally ripe, totally fine. There's also an option to cure it or like mature it a little bit more even after you pick it. So far I have 4 that I've picked, and so there's some other ones that are already starting to turn brown, and so I'll be able to pick some in the coming weeks, but those are doing well. So one of the other issues right now is the cucumbers are out of control, kind of like I mentioned. Well, butternut squash are also vine plants, and they're also out of control. It's so dense and so out of control that the cucumbers in one box, the butternut squash are in the other. The butternut squash vine has like gone through that box. And so now I have butternut squash being grown on the other side of the garden that's not supposed to be there. And then I have cucumbers that are crossing over the butternut squash's box, growing on the complete other side. So right now it's just like this giant wad of vines, like dense jungle. There's grass growing out from underneath because it's gone over the box at this point. So I just kind of like hike up my pajama pants and I just start noodling around. If I see something, I pick it. But it's just like a hodgepodge of vines and vegetables. So it's a little crazy over there. My fun, unexpected plant here is gonna be the secret tomatoes. So when I did a video, maybe like 2 videos ago, I saw that there was some tomatoes that had like randomly grown in the middle box garden. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna pick that because otherwise it's not gonna survive. Well, I was wrong there. So every once in a while I have like 3 cherry tomatoes that I like see amongst the mass of greenery, and I'll just get like 3, and that's kind of it for the week. It's just kind of funny because I'm like, I didn't plant these. I didn't really actually want these, but they're there. They're not like thriving, but they're producing fruit, so I will take it. But it's a little chaotic. Chaotic is an understatement. So the big question for me right now is kind of what's next. I don't want to get rid of anything except for the kale and the pea plants. That first small box garden that I was growing them in is only currently serving the purpose of like the overgrowth section of the cucumbers, but otherwise like those plants are still down there. Kale is still actually technically sprouting. The lettuce has flowered, so it's gone, like it's done producing everything, but the kale still is producing like some leaves here and there, but I'm done with the kale. It's gonna get choked out by the vines anytime soon. What I have in mind is I do want to do watermelon. I do kind of wonder if it's gonna be a little bit too late for watermelon. I will look that up, but watermelon is really fun because it produces such large fruit, and you actually surprisingly don't have to water it as much as you would expect. It's a very good summer crop. I really enjoyed growing them last year, and I would like to do it again. I'm just still trying to determine if it's too late because it does take longer time for those to grow. On the flip side, I am enjoying the cucumbers that I am getting from the garden and the butternut squash. Like I said, I made a butternut squash soup the other day. Fire. I used 2 of them and it made probably about like 4 servings, and I'd like to do another cooking video because it was fun. I liked doing the one I made last time. Granted, it's just a bunch of soups and stews, but I also do quick pickles. So I think I will probably do some culinary videos sometime here soon, especially now that I'm home for now. I maybe have like 2 weeks of travel in the month of July. I feel like I'm never home, but I'm back for the most part, so I would like to make more videos. I feel bad I haven't made one in a while, but I'm here, and I hope I get things figured out because, well, you'll see the videos. It's wild out there.